YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back with another Total War Rome 2 Emperor Edition online battle replay. And this time I'm going to pull out Parthia, and I've got quite a few mercenaries actually in this Parthian army. My opponent sticks with Macedon, doubles down on his Aspis Cav, and brings 2 more, so now he's got 6 Aspis Cav, a couple of Thurio Spears, Militia Hoplites, 3 Archers, and a Shield Bearer. Shield Bearer is a very tough infantry unit in this patch. And the Militia Hoplites are not good, but every unit holds much longer in this patch, so he's hoping that his cavalry will be able to provide some killing power. Again, I've not really seen any proof in this patch that Aspis Cav or Campanian Cav are really worth their price against infantry, but I could be wrong, and my opponent is obviously thinking otherwise here, so we'll see. Now, as Parthia, there's a couple of things to think about. And let me introduce you to the armies real quick. So I've got 3 mercenary hoplites, 2 Persian hoplites. I've got 3 Parthian foot archers, which are pretty competent foot archers. And then I've got 3 Eastern cataphracts, 1 royal cataphract, 3 mercenary Sarmatian lancers, a camel spearman, and then 4 mercenary Sarmatian horse archers. So I do have a lot of cavalry, but I didn't go all cavalry with Parthia. And the reason is because infantry is actually a huge threat to cavalry now, because they've all gotten boost to armor and health. So it definitely, and then melee cav plays out a lot different now too. You're going to want melee cav if there's going to be some kind of long drawn out engagement, and you're going to want shock cavalry to put a nice charge down on stuff. So I've heard multiple comments from people saying, shock cavalry's dead in this patch, it's ruined, and there's even posts on the forums where people are complaining about how shock cavalry's ruined. I entirely disagree, very much disagree. So let's see what's going to happen here. Over here, I'm clicking charge orders on this side. Over here, my charge orders come a little late. But let's watch what happens on both sides. We're going to follow my general in right here, and we'll kind of go follow him in on this charge. I'll go slow motion just so you can kind of see what happens. So this is a royal cataphract into Aspis Companion Cavalry. Not the kind of charge that an Aspis Companion Cav wants to be involved in. You can see some of his guys falling off their horse straight away, getting killed. And if I come off of that fight, and let's put it back into play, you can see that I killed 15 of his men relatively quick, and 12 over here. And then I'm going to be able to follow it up with rear charges from my light shock cavalry here. And this is definitely going to get the job done. So his Aspis Cav here, which should last a long time in a fight, is going to actually just get destroyed from shock cavalry, all shock cavalry. And even over here where I didn't get a very good charge, my cataphracts are still winning the fight. And here comes a rear charge from the mercenary Sarmatian lancers, and then camel spearmen over in this vicinity. Going to scare the Aspis Cav so you can see the morale's a little lower, and then I reinforce with the hoplites. So the Macedonian player, I think, engaged his cavalry too soon here. He wasn't close enough to his infantry. He still has 2 more Aspis Cav though, but I'm going to harass them with some horse archers. And then I've got more horse archers coming here. This is going to gain the attention of his archers and at least keep them turned away from my infantry and from the cavalry fight. So you can see my shock cavalry actually is just absolutely crushed the Aspis Cav here. My opponent tries to pull away and get to my skirmishers, but it's not going to work. They're too beat up at this point. He lost his militia hoplites and 2 more Aspis Cav here just by extra charging. So shock cavalry is not dead, and it's not dead versus infantry either. You have to use it differently though, so I did engage trample with all my cataphracts in the very first charge. Now you don't always want to do that. Since I was going up against Aspis Companion Cav, I did want to do it, because I need the most damage I can early on that Cav. Now, if I was going up against a lesser cavalry, I probably would not use the trample charge early on, and the reason for that is because trample makes your men so tired, and because the fights take longer. When your shock cav is really tired, it's going to do noticeably worse versus melee cav. Now, this was a mistake. I let a split in my center, so you can see I go ahead and split up my archers into 3 different directions, and again, because the combat takes longer, this gives me time to come in here and keep his Aspis Cav from being able to get all 3 of my archers. And then over here, I've got my cataphracts lined up for another charge against his Aspis Cav. Another full unit. So this is the 2nd unit of Aspis Companion Cav that my general's taking on. He's only had 2 losses so far and 38 kills, 40 kills. So shock cavalry is most definitely not dead. Well, these are cataphracts. They're a lot stronger than normal shock cav. Yes, they are. And how you use your shock cav is an important part of whether or not they succeed. So taking light shock cavalry into heavy melee cav, probably not going to afford you a whole lot. Taking light shock cavalry into a rear charge against infantry or unbraced infantry, it's probably going to work great. So again, it's all about how you use it. Now look at his archers back here. They were chasing my horse archers. They get completely singled out with no support. And so his archers are going to get caught and destroyed by my horse archers here. So horse archers are useful on a number of levels, and then everywhere else I'm just supporting cavalry with infantry to take out what's remaining from my opponent. And I just keep my camel spears near the fight. You're not going to again see chain routes with them like you did in previous patches. What you're going to see though is that it helps lower their morale just a little, and it'll help the fight end just a little bit quicker. So again, you can see the morale from these Aspis Cav dropping a little quicker than it probably would have otherwise because they're outflanked, camel spearmen are nearby. So again, it'll help get rid of these units rather than fighting to the last man, which sometimes they can. You can see here, the shield bearer was not braced, so I may not have killed a lot of them, but I flattened them out pretty good. I don't know, I mean, I killed at least 20 shield bearers on that charge. So again, shock cavalry's not dead. It's all about charging the infantry when it's not braced or from the rear. And when it comes to cavalry fights, it's about knowing when it is a good time to charge enemy cav. Thessalian cav into, you know, like Bactrian noble horse, probably not going to buy you a whole lot just because the armor is so much heavier on the Bactrian noble horse. Now, if you brought a cheaper melee cav to fix the Bactrian noble horse from the front and then charged it, or if you brought a whole bunch of Jav cav to support your Thessalians and you tore up a Bactrian noble horse with the Jav cav and then charged it, I think players in this patch need to start thinking a little bit different about their cavalry engagements. In the past, a lot of people like to muscle their way into cavalry supremacy. So I'm going to bring a bunch of Aspis Cav, or I'm going to bring a bunch of, you know, whatever Cav it was, Bactrian noble horse. That's how I muscle my way into Cav supremacy. That will not always be the case in the new patch, and it's because, in my opinion, Jav Cav units are now playing a whole new role in the game, which I really enjoy. Jav Cav are the counter to heavy cavalry. And it's much the same way that skirmishers like Cretan archers and stuff are supposed to be a counter to super heavy infantry. You can put them in a heavy shot, you can kill the super heavy infantry. So I think Javelin Cav are serving that role now, and you're going to see them be used quite a bit. Doesn't mean you're always going to be successful, no, but what it means is that before any player decides to tank up on heavy melee cav, they're going to have to consider, do I have the tools to help support my heavy melee cav? Because remember, a grind out fight, even with elite heavy melee cav, is going to take 3 or 4 minutes, maybe even 5 or 6 minutes. Are you going to be able to finish that fight and then bring that expensive melee cav in somewhere else in order to make it worth it? So in previous Rome 2 battles, you would see your elite melee cav come in, crush the enemy cav relatively quick, and then be able to go after skirmishers, or just slam into enemy infantry and basically wipe them out. It's not going to be the case anymore, so you've got to rethink the way you want to use your cavalry. Here, I knew that I had certain cavalry that was good for charging. I knew that I had support cavalry, my light cav, that was going to be good for getting to enemy skirmishers or for charging into the rear of a fight. So knowing my cataphracts would win the charge and then the engagement would start to prolong, all I needed to do was win the charge and then support with those light cav units. So I think that light cav plays a much more important role in the game now. Again, I don't know, we're not to the point of having meta builds out there yet. This all may change, but in my opinion, I see light cav playing a huge role, and it's because of that. And when I say light cav, I think javelin cav in particular, but light cav also, because light cavalry is going to be needed, because when two heavy cavalry forces hit each other, and that grind out takes a while, you still need cavalry left to go after their skirmishers. And that's where light cavalry is going to come in handy. It can slip through the gaps. It can get in there and distract enemy skirmishers momentarily so that hopefully you can meet some victory. Anyway, Heir of Carthage, signing off for now.